But what snuck up on us here is the Browns' defense has stunningly been awful in the first quarter. This is a shocking statistic here. The Browns are giving up 7.4 points per game in the fourth quarter. That is
first quarter.
In the first quarter, sorry. That is the worst in the NFL. Now, they did give up 17 against Seattle this week, and you could say, well, what if you took that out? But if you took out every team's worst, you can't take it out. So, in the last 2 weeks in particular, 31 points have certainly boosted the numbers up. But what do we make of this, guys? Is this coincidence? Is it an anomaly? Like, what is it? Is there something about this? Because from the second quarter on, they've overall played great defense. But in the first quarter, they've not played well. What do you make of it, Jason?
The part that I think is concerning is that the last 2 weeks they've given up, 31 points?
31 points.
That's concerning.
That's
because it's
terrible.
It's the most recent.
Yeah.
But if you look at the part that's a little weird with this is if you look at their sort of advanced metrics, the defensive EPA, expected points allowed, they're still among the leaders for first quarter.
Yeah.
They're up there with the 49ers and some of the other elite defenses that you would think. But then on the point side, they're at the bottom. So that part doesn't.
How do we explain? Have you done the? Maybe one of us needs to do this research. When the analytics say, "Hey, you're still one of the best," but the points
that's what
say,
matters.
You stink, and that is what matters ultimately. What accounts for that?
I think that they're giving up sixes instead of threes. You know, when you're giving up touchdowns and the other team's giving up field goals, that's how that can happen. Where your EPA may be high, but your actual is terrible. And right there is four touchdowns in the first quarter of the last 2 weeks. So that, I think, more than anything, is probably – I mean, if you go back 2 weeks ago, they probably weren't – we're not having this conversation.
Right, sure.
So a lot of this, I think, is
we're at 31. That means they give up 21 in the first how many games have they played? 7. So 21 in the first 5 games, which means they were giving up like little over 4 points per game.
Which would be right in the middle of the pack.
Which would be middle
right
of the pack.
Middle of the pack.
So I think more than anything, it's just they had really bad starts the last 2 weeks. Is how I look at it defensively. And really it's nothing more than that until we have more data to see. But, you know, I mean, when we did the interview with Jay Gruden, you know, I asked Jay about that. And Jay said, I think it was Bill Belichick, who said basically you just want to survive the scripted plays. Just survive. Get through those, and then you can then you settle into the game once you get off script.
Right.
Because both teams spend so much time on that script. And what's interesting about the script is I don't want to get off topic here, but it's not necessarily the first 15 play calls of the game are the script. If you get a penalty on the kickoff and you're backed up to the goal line, you're not running the script.
Yeah.
So it may take you a long time to get through those scripted plays. It's not necessarily just, this is what we worked on for first down. That's what we're going to call, even though we're backed up on our own goal line.
Or you have a turnover, or you go 3 and out in the first. You know,
so it's not necessarily that you call the first 15 plays are your script.
Right.
But I think with the Browns defensively, a lot of that might be what Jay was talking about. Just survive that, just get through that, see what the other team's doing, and then go from there.
Yeah. G, are you concerned?
Man, you know, basically when you're on defense, you're just guessing. Like, you're just doing educated guessing. Like, okay, what do we think they're going to come out in, right? And, you know, when Jason talks about the scripted plays, people's just making up new plays. So you're going to see in the first quarter, all new plays. Just like anything you watched on film, you're not getting those plays. These are all, hey, this is what the Cleveland Browns just did last week. These are the plays we think we can catch them and get some points, right? And so a lot of times where you want to make your money at is if you say, okay, we can hold them to 3, maybe they get off schedule or get off track with the simple fact that they have they got the ball first and maybe they get a holding penalty. You get a holding penalty on a big play on a drive, now you're first and 20, and now, once again, they're off schedule. So now you get an opportunity to stymie them a little bit. But when you go back and if you could put those points up, those totals by quarter.
You want by quarter?
Yeah. You start to see where the Browns are very good. The Browns are really awesome. In the third quarter, I believe it was 13 points that they're giving up in the third quarter. That means after they done exhausted all them little plays, the trick plays, all the scripted stuff, you come out in halftime and the Browns not giving you nothing. Now here's
less than 2 points per game in the second quarter.
Right.
Where do they rank there, Mike? Do you know?
First.
In the third quarter. Jeez.
First in the NFL.
They're number one in
And
the NFL.
that number right there is keeping them in the game with a backup terrible quarterback. That because they're not, when you come out, they make it into the adjustments, and now the Browns, because once again, you're out of the scripted plays, and now the Browns are able to just run the ball, be methodical, and then you can flip the field.
Yeah.
And if I'm getting turnovers, we flip the field. Now we can start getting on the board and getting 3 points or 7 points. So I think a lot of the first quarter is the fact that, like Jason said, you're just trying to figure that people know the Cleveland Browns are good. So you're going to get their best punch in the first quarter because those are the plays that they've schemed together that think they're going to be successful.
The only thing I would say to both of you guys about that isn't everybody having to deal with that same situation in the first quarter? I am a little – go ahead, Mike.
Real quick, I do apologize. Yeah. They are second in third quarter points allowed. Buffalo's allowing 1.5. Cleveland's at 1.9.
Okay.
So minimal difference.
Gotcha. I am a little concerned – about the first quarter numbers because the last 2 weeks it's been a major issue.
Yes.
Like if they, the first 5 weeks they gave up a few touchdowns, but there are a couple games they gave up nothing. But the fact that they've given up 31 points the last 2 weeks, so let's face it, I mean the Seahawks offense is, good but not amazing. And the Colts offense is just Now, they're not facing a lot of great quarterbacks the rest of the way. And one of those two, the best quarterback they're facing the rest of the season is Burrow, who hasn't played his best football against the Browns. But it is a little concerning. I'm not panicked about it, but it is a little concerning. And I bet you that is very unusual for a team. And again, it's only not even at the halfway point of the season. But I'm guessing it is not common for a team to be dead last in terms of defense, giving up points in the first quarter, or if you want to say first, they've given up the most, and then be the number 2 team in terms of not giving up points in the third quarter. I get it, and that's a credit to Jim Schwartz. I agree with you that he is able to adjust, and they're great in the third quarter. But you'd think they'd at least be middle of the road in the first quarter, which is where they were before the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've been so bad the last 2 weeks has me a little concerned.
Sure, and I mean, if Arizona comes out and runs right down the field on them,
well, yeah, there's no excuse there.
That's a problem. And I guess if you have to have one or the other, you'd rather be worse in the first quarter,
sure,
and then tighten up the rest of the way.
Yes.
But also with all the problems that this team's had offensively, you don't really want to be in a big hole, really either, and have this is not an offense right now that's built for playing from behind.
Definitely not.
That's one of the things as a defensive player playing defense. I think people don't estimate how much pressure that is to not give up points. Like, I mean, these guys are professionals just like you, and everybody can be on schedule. 10 guys can do their job, and one guy just gets beat on a good throw, or different things like that. So for me, it's kind of difficult to hold guys to those points. And look, sometimes you're gonna have a bad week. You have a bad week. You miss an assignment. Things like that happen.
Yeah.
But since your offense is so much, below what your defensive standards are, you kind of have to, the defense has to play at a certain level every week to give themselves a chance to win.
We kind of have some sort of breaking news here, guys.
It's not necessarily news yet, but it's definitely worth discussing in terms of these tweets. And we got all three. We got Zach, Mary Kay, and Tom Withers. So if you let me read them to you, Bo, real quick, we'll take them on screen.
Okay.
And we can discuss this real quick before we get into the 5 stats you need to know. But Zach Jackson of The Athletic tweeted, Deshaun Watson was first in every line. The start of practice looked just like it did 2 Fridays ago when he played against Indy. Otherwise, there's no real tell on the status or that he's ready to play well. Game statuses will come in an hour or so. Then Mary Kay at the same time tweeted, Deshaun Watson took all the first-team reps in part of the open media portion of practice Friday. Certainly looks like he's starting Sunday versus the Cardinals. And Tom Withers, who also is at practice, tweeted, Deshaun Watson took all the reps while we were out there. It looks like he'll start, but nothing official yet. Guys, we could have an announcement.
I disagree with
sometime
this.
In the next hour.
I think this is a bad move. I think they need to set him another week. You can win this game without him, and we've seen nothing to this point to indicate that he's healthy and ready to go. I think you should sit another week and bring him back against Baltimore.
I say if he goes out there and he looks bad, or he has a setback, I think you can't do this no more. You just have to go. You have to put him on IR.
I want to agree with you. I mean, I do agree with you, but I don't think they're going to. There's nothing in this recent track record that makes me think that even if he plays this week,
and he has a
and
setback,
and it goes badly, that they're going to put him on IR. And I think they will keep doing this each week. I guess we'll find out Sunday if you're right, and they should have waited another week. I mean,
and maybe another week doesn't make any difference. Maybe it is what it is.
That's what I'm saying. Like at this point, they may think he may be saying. The doctors may say, this is as good as his shoulder's going to get.
Yeah.
So he's either got to find a way to play at this level of health or he can't play. That there may be no other, that if you sit him another week, it's not going to make a difference.
Right.
And if they're saying that, then yes, he should play, because why not see what he looks like against Arizona before you got to play against Baltimore? A couple other things real quick before we get back to Watson.
Shoot.
Guys who did not practice today, I saw this tweet from Scott Petrak. Greg Newsome, David Bell, Alex Wright not practicing. Alex Wright, who cares, really? David Bell, But between trading Donovan Peoples-Jones and maybe David Bell not playing, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. It sounds like Cedric Tillman will get some opportunity.
He'll have an opportunity.
Yeah, this week, because, I mean, at this point, he's probably be their fourth receiver this week.
Yeah.
But it also sounds like Greg Newsome's not going to play, because he left the game and he hasn't practiced all week. So I would assume he's not going to play.
Out.
Shout out to Cam Mitchell. He'll be playing, right?
Oh, he should have had that pick.
He should have had that pick.
That would have been
Having
a pick six.
A far different conversation all week if he picks that off.
In the game, son. My coach used to say that all the time.
Yeah.
In the game, be the hero. Right? Get the girl after the game.
Yeah.
Right? Pick it off. Come on.
He had
That's
a shot.
twice. They had who had it in his hands against the 49ers?
I can't
Wasn't it the
remember.
49ers?
Yeah, I think there was another one
Interception in
against
his hands
49ers.
that would
I
end
don't
the
remember.
game.
It's something about Northwestern cornerbacks and INTs, man. It just don't, they don't go
They
hand in